Robert from the Open Eye Mystic Shop in Clovis, California, and I've been doing a series on how to use some of the oils that we have in the shop. My original plan was just to grab them off the shelf in alphabetical order and talk about them, but I have a special request for Champa oil, so we're going to talk about that today. Champa oil's name comes from Nag Champa incense, so you should immediately be aware that this has a grounding influence on you. It's a little like patchouli in that way. It calms you down. And when we look at the advice we get from the witch who put these together, he says this is calming and quieting. We use it to soothe ruffled feelings and calm tensions. Excellent for meditation. So again, that leads itself to a grounding operation. Now, there's a lot to talk about here, so this might be a 2, 3, maybe even a 4-part video. I don't know yet. I just kind of write them and then talk about them and see where they go. So let's start with the first portion of the manufacturer's instructions, which is calming and quieting, used to soothe ruffled feelings and calm tensions. Now, these tensions may be with another person, which we're going to cover in this video. They may be tension within yourself. Maybe the tensions are between two people that you're not really involved with, but for some reason those tensions impact your life and you want to do something about that. They could be tensions that keep you from meditating. Now, that last one sounds easier to deal with, but is probably the hardest part of using Champa oil, so we'll get to that as well. So again, in this video, we're talking about dealing with tensions you might have with somebody else. So first of all magic begins with yourself. Always, every time, no matter what. Well, I suppose there's an exception, but most of the time magic has to do with you because it's your universe the magic is working in. So if you have ruffled feelings about a situation or another person, step one, if you will, is deruffling yourself. You have to remember the goal of the magic, which is to deruffle. Okay? It is not make that bitch pay for what she did. It is not make her understand. It is not draw her to me to apologize for her egregious act. It's to deruffle your feelings. So focus on that, to deruffle. So it doesn't matter who did what. What matters is your feelings and the feelings involved by both parties. In my opinion, these things are always mutual. Okay? We all know we might be in a good mood, but if somebody comes up to us and we know they're mad at us or disappointed with us or whatever the case may be, our defenses go up. And when our defenses go up, our adrenaline might go up, our heart beats a little faster. Those translate into our emotions, which now get exacerbated, and we feel negative towards the person coming at us. Well, they feel that. They see in your facial expressions, your body language, your tone of voice, and if they're sensitive, they feel it psychically. That creates this endless cycle between the two of you. And so the first goal is breaking the cycle. And you do that by deruffling yourself. So notice I did not say let go of your feelings. If you could let go of your feelings, you wouldn't need the oil. You wouldn't need the magic. Okay. First thing I would do would be to grab a green candle. And I want a candle that's green in a way that I might see that color green in a healthy forest or some other lush place. It could be a light green, it could be a dark green, it really doesn't matter, as long as it gives you the feeling of fertility and growth. There are some light green candles out there that sometimes strike me as looking a little bit sickly. If they look sickly green to you, I wouldn't use them. The other candle color you might want to try is brown, because it can represent a healthy tree trunk or a stem of a plant, something of that nature. What you're going for here is fertility and growth. Okay. So you want to pick a color that represents that. Now, some of you that are gardeners might have a different color for that. You might have a yellow or a particular purple flower that you particularly like or something like that. That'll work fine. I'd stay away from red. Chances are there's some anger in this situation. Red's an angry color. Yeah, you might want to stay away from the reds. But symbolism matters when you do magic like this. So some folks, whenever they do magic, they got to put on their black robes, or their red, white, and black, so they feel witchy or whatever the case may be. Okay, but you're not doing dark magic. You're not doing anything that's supposed to be scary. Wear something fun. A Hawaiian print shirt, for instance. You're supposed to be having fun when you're doing this, because you're contradicting these negative feelings. So allow the symbolism around you to reflect your goal, and clothing can help with that. Again, symbolism matters. So in this case, I would take my candle outside and plant it in the earth. I might get a hurricane to protect it from the wind, so the wind doesn't blow out the flame of the candle. And if you can't do that, get a pot like you'd grow an indoor plant with, and put your candle in the pot. Now, if you really want to go the extra step, use fertile soil and add a seed into the soil, so that your magic helps grow a plant. And that plant is symbolic of you nurturing your feelings in this situation in a positive, healthy way. And it might even grow into a plant that is symbolic of you nurturing your relationship with this person. So every time you water the plant, you have thoughts of watering and nurturing your relationship with the person who is the target of your spell. Now, how you dress your candle matters. If you put a little oil on your fingers and hold the candle vertically, so stand up, and draw the oil down this way, because what you're doing is you are grounding your feelings into the earth. If you oil the candle this way, you are likely to be shooting your feelings out into the universe. The most likely place they're going to land is upon the person you have the problem with, and that's not going to help. Okay? So your spell that you say as you're oiling this candle, or perhaps as you're lighting the candle, I do both. I will say it as I'm oiling the candle and as I light it, and sometimes I'll watch it burn and say it for a third time. You might say something like this: draw my unruly and unhelpful feelings about X away from me and give them to the earth. Let them be recycled into new life. This sort of spell is harder than most because you're trying to change yourself. So some part of you that always wants things to stay the same is going to resist. And you're going to be walking through your day, and this person's name is going to pop through your mind, and you're going to say, oh, that bitch, she did X and Y, and how dare she? When that thought occurs from you, you have to remember your spell. You have to remember the symbolism of the spell. You have to remember the goal of your spell, which is to de-ruffle your feathers. So feel the thought. Don't just bury it and then just bury it. Drop it into the earth. Let the earth absorb it and tell the earth to use the energy to allow something new to grow. Then distract yourself. Call a friend who's funny. Binge watch something on Netflix. Mop your kitchen floor. Whatever it takes to distract you so you don't follow that thought and keep it going. The point is to train yourself not to make your ruffled feelings even more ruffled, I guess. I don't know. Whatever the case is, distract yourself. You do not want to hold on to those feelings. That's counter to your spell. Another thing to do here is repeat this spell often. It's hard to get these emotions out of your mind, body, and spirit. So maybe do this spell once a week. If you are going to extend this work to the other party in the future, you have to do it to yourself first. And the way you know you're successful is when you can run into that person and you don't have feelings of anger or resentment or whatever the ruffled feathers are. You're not feeding back into the loop. Once you succeeded in doing that, then you can move on to working on the other person's part of the equation. But a funny thing happens when you do magic like this. Sometimes what happens is you go, oh, well, I really don't need that friendship anymore. And you put it to bed. It was great while it lasted. You learned what you needed to learn. You did some fun things together. You can remember the person fondly, but you don't have to go out to coffee with them every Tuesday anymore. You just let the relationship fade. Now, if it turns out that this relationship is really important to you, it's a family member, it's a friend that you've had since the 5th grade, something of that nature, then you might want to extend this magic towards them and help them soothe their ruffled feelings. But that's for the next video. So this is Robert from the Open Eye signing off. I hope you find our YouTube channel and subscribe to that, because there'll be lots more videos, not only on oils and how to use them, but herbs, talisman making, different forms of magic, some of the services we offer here. So again, find our YouTube channel, subscribe, and I hope you have a great day. Thanks for watching.